Hello everyone and welcome to round 8 of Neo Racing League Season 4. We are here at the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Nino Ferrari, better known as Imola in San Marino. The circuit stands at just over 3 miles with 19 corners, 10 to the left and 9 to the right, with a single DRS zone down the main straight. Opening in 1953, it has held many F1 races across the decades and has seen rivalries like Schumacher and Alonso, Prost versus Senna and Hamilton versus Verstappen, all fight on this circuit. In Neo, we have had we raced here in our debut season, seeing Marocom taking victory here, and 2 seasons later, well, 3 seasons later, we have now returned to what is probably a very difficult circuit to get right. So just let's go through a bit of admin. We've got last week's race, so a bit of changes compared to what we saw at the end of the Grand Prix. A couple of penalties applied. We see Gary Gator take victory in the end ahead of Speed Queen. Rubsicola round out the podium with Marchmeister in 4th, JPS in P5, Vekuli finishing 6th with Detective Midge in P7, Handflap Kelly 8th, Mark Baller 9th, and Funny Wayband rounding out the top 10. In the championship standings now, Gary Gator leads the way by 4 points over Shoot Fizzle. Speed Queen then in 3rd, Rubsicola in 4th, only a couple of points behind them, and the top 5, including JPS in with 53 points, all look quite close by the midpoint of the season. Marchmeister in P6 with Bakuli in P7, this guy near P8, Handflap Kelly P9 and Bonviat ran out that top 10. Got constructor standings of Aston Martin still leading the way by 20 points over the Sauber, with Mercedes only 4 points behind them. Williams in 4th, Haas, Red Bull, RB, Alpine, Ferrari, and then McLaren down at the back. I am your commentator, Jamie Jackson, and tonight I am joined by a man who decided to take a John Cena role in last week's commentary booth and say you can't see me, and he also enjoys a bit of black tea. All we know is he's called APF Stig. How are you doing, my friend?
Hello, how are we doing today?
Yeah, we're doing great. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. And what a track to be at tonight in the absolute soaking conditions. The clouds are pouring over the Italian skies of Imola here today, and we're going to have quite a difficult qualifying session because it's looking pretty wet. They're all on inters, and this is going to be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, absolutely going to be a fun one to watch, as we see Handflap Kelly be the first driver to set a lap time in our Q2 session. 15 drivers currently in the session. Might have one more join later on, I'm not too sure. But Handflap Kelly will be put a 26.2 on the board and immediately take his provisional P1 taken away by Vekuli with a 26.2 as well, only 300ths quicker than the Aston Martin. The Haas of Detective Midge in P3 and 4. We've got a couple other drivers now crossing a giant JPS at 26.1. We've got who's up next? I think we've got Ali coming up to the line. As he comes up to the line, does a 26.9, puts himself in P5 as everyone starts to put in lap times. In your situation, Stick, what would you do when it's intermediate conditions around this circuit? Do you just go all in straight away, or do you build up to it?
Absolutely build up. A few laps of fuel in the car. Fill for basically the whole session and just keep those laps going. You want to be nice and consistent around here. ERS isn't too much of a problem in the wet conditions. So you just want to get yourself in the groove because the track conditions change so quickly. You've got rubber being laid down. You've got the different water levels on the track. You just need to find the grip wherever you can. And yeah, for me, it's just keep going with laps and build up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very difficult circuit to get right as well due to track limits. You've got the first and second chicanes, always difficult to keep it inside those white lines, particularly on a wet surface. You've also got a lot of Sector 2 Aqua Minerale, very difficult as well in the dry conditions, let alone the wet. The chicane at the end of the start of Sector 3, also very difficult, as we see Rupsicola go over the first chicane after completing his lap. Very difficult for him, where we have a couple other drivers now trying to set lap times. Most of the field have done so, only 3 drivers being unable to. Quack Melee, Constant Soda 368 and Marchmeister being the only 3 drivers yet to set a lap time. But I believe quite a few drivers are right now just going through and taking a bit of a breather as well between their laps, and then going for another one. Shoot Fizzle, currently invalidated. Speed Queen, I believe, is not quite on a lap, so those drivers will be looking to go again. They only have a limited set of intermediate tyres as well, so it does mean that they do have to use these tyres not just over this session but the next session as well.
Speed Queen's starting a lap now if you want to take a ride.
Oh yeah, okay, sure then. We'll go on the Speed Queen, the Red Bull, down towards turn 1 and 2 and 3. Well, it's actually turn 2 because there's a slight right-hander down the straight that's counted as a corner for some reason. But we're going to continue on with the Red Bull as they go down towards that second chicane, missing the apex slightly, not getting the optimal line as he bounces over the curb as they go through the hairpin. Can Speed Queen make the improvements they're seeing extend their gap? Only a 1,000th margin between the top two at the moment. Shoot Fizzle and Speed Queen, both barely ever separated by a piece of paper. And that is no different tonight. Going down through the second sector now, looks to have it under control a bit, gets a bit of wheel spin on exit, but no sign of traction loss. 4.5 tenths up for the Red Bull as the track begins to evolve. Doesn't really cut over that chicane too aggressively, does not want to get any sort of traction loss as we go down towards sector 3, the final couple of corners of the lap into the penultimate corner. Does a decent job there, keeps it in the lines, uses a bit the exit curb as well to maximise the amount of track possible. Shoot Fizzle goes 24.4. Where does Speed Queen go? Also a 24.4. So now it is Shoot Fizzle who leads the way. It was 1,000 in Speed Queen's advantage. Now it's about 700 in Shoot's advantage. This is absolutely close. More of this, please, guys.
The new championship leader, Gary Gators, just put it in P3. So he's about 6 tenths off at the moment, but don't count him out just yet. But the 2 at the front look like they're in a league of their own.
Yeah, absolutely. As the top 2 look absolutely phenomenal as always in qualifying. It tends to be that those 2 get a very big gap over the rest of the field in terms of quality one lap pace. But over the race, the likes of Gary, JPS, and Rupsicola tend to be a bit closer in terms of pace. We've got a couple of drivers who are currently on laps. However, I cannot seem to find anyone who's close to finishing their lap. Marchmeister at the moment.
Keek Millie's just starting.
Keek Millie, do you want to take us through with Keek Millie?
Keek Millie going around Tamburello at the moment, just taking a nice wide line. Actually, that's probably a little bit too wide. I think there's a bit more over rotation than they needed in the car. Coming up to turn 5, and that's a very long way away from the apex. You don't really need a wet line around that corner. However, here at Tosa, you do want a wet line. You want to go wider, which is better with what they've done. But again, a little bit of over rotation, struggling with the rear end on that car there. So I want to keep it up round to the right hand side of the track now for Piratella. Nice on the apex, not wanting to take too much of the curb because otherwise that will unsettle the car too much in these wet conditions. Aqua Minerale now, taking it quite nice and easy. Obviously struggling to find a little bit of grip in that car. I think Keek Millie is probably going to build up towards later in the session, but they could be in danger if they don't get a decent lapping because they are at the back at the moment. Up around Variante Alta there, again, riding the curbs as much as they can. Coming up to this last part of the lap now, Rivazza. We wanted to take you want to try and use the low end torque of the car around here. Maybe use a higher gear, minimize that wheel spin. Coming up to the line, it's going to be a 28.0. Just put them in P13 for now, but it's going to need a lot more time out of that lap.
Yeah, absolutely. The top, you remember you've got only the bottom 5 being eliminated from this session. That means we have the top 10 going through to Q3. Currently, the cut-off point is 26.4, but I believe it will get close up towards that lower end of the 26s by the end of the session. We've still got 4 minutes 40 to go as Queck goes off the circuit.
Gary's just about to finish his lap. He's right on the edge of the track around Ravazza. Looks like he's much quicker in sector 2. It's going to be a 24.6, so he's pulled himself back into contention. But he's very safe in this session. It's going to be in Q3. He's going to need to make that difference.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's certainly put himself in this position. He can kind of rest. You don't want to rest on your laurels, really, because if all of a sudden the track has a sudden improvement, but there is quite a large gap between him and the dropout zone, but he's still gonna push anyway, even though he's not even on a lap at this time. We've currently got Rupsi Cola, who is currently starting their flying lap. Actually they might have just tried to end one because they've invalidated, so they now will have to go again. They do have enough ERS to do so. So the Williams, who looks to try and get back into this championship fight and get closer towards Gary, Shoot Fizzle and Speed Queen, needs a better position. This currently in the dropout zone of the bottom 5, the only one of our championship contenders in that drop zone at this stage, but has shown good placing in intermediate conditions in the past. Can they do it again? Currently 4 attempts up on their first sector, and can the Williams make more improvements and more inroads? Currently that put themselves in P910 region, in just the first sector alone, down through sector 2 now. Can the Williams get extra time out of this very, very difficult part of the circuit in Aqua Minerale? And now we head down towards the chicane, half a second up for the Williams through the chicane. They go, don't cut it too much because you don't want to invalidate. Gets it just about right as we go through down towards the penultimate corner now. Where does the Williams go for the last 2 corners in Ravazza? Through the penultimate corner, keeps it nice and keeps it in the white lines just about, but exceeding it just enough to maximise the track limits possible. We're now up towards the line of 25.8 for Rupsi Cola. Puts himself into P6, dropping a couple of drivers down, but a lot of drivers, P5 to P7, all within 300ths of a second. That is really, really close.
Might want to jump on board with Marcel, who's just overtaken Rupsi Cola to start his lap in the McLaren. Coming up around the first sector now, looks like he's going to be, let's see what it says at the timeline. It's validated. Literally must have just done that and not realised. But maybe we'll jump on board with someone else then.
Yeah, who is currently on one? We've got Gary, who's coming up to the line now to finish their flying lap, still plodding around the Sauber, and goes fastest. The mystery machine, all of a sudden finds some good pace and puts himself into the 24 zeros. However, gets swooped immediately by Speed Queen as they usurp the Sauber off that top spot by 0.2 of a second. However, that top group, even though they are certainly safe, they will be looking to go even faster. We've got the RB of Ekuli, who's invalidated, so they will not be finishing their lap time. We've got Marcel, who's invalidated. So who is the next one to cross the line? It will be Mark Bowler, maybe, or is it the other?
No, he's not on a lap.
Oh, he's not even on a lap. Who is on a lap? It will be. Is it Handflap Kelly? Yes, it is.
Anyone is.
No one at the moment because they're all invalidated or on out laps. That's the problem. Someone who may be on a lap is Constant Soda 368. He's currently goes down towards Aqua Minerale and is trying to get further up the field. Currently in P9, can the McLaren do so as we go up towards Variante Alta. Turn 14 and 15 chicane, nearly a second up on their own personal best as they go through here. That will put them well in that region of P5 basically, maybe P4 if there's a couple more temps improvements as we go down towards the Ravazza's last two corners, as the McLaren does look quite solid at the moment as we go up to the line. Doesn't invalidate like most have around Ravazza, but up to the line goes P3, a 24.3. It's an excellent lap by the McLaren.
Very good lap from the new drivers to the league. Only done a couple of races here, but that's a very good showing in qualifying so far from Commentators.
Yeah, an excellent job from the McLaren. He's still got a session to go though, but he is right in the mix with the top drivers at this stage. There might be a bit of track improvement needed, but we'll see how that plays out. Shoot Fizzle currently on the lap. Marcel goes fast as a 23.4. Usurps Speed Queen off that top spot. As meanwhile, Shoot Fizzle improves 9/10. Is this the track evolution that we were seeing? As we go down towards Ravazza, the Ravazza corners now, the final two corners of the lap. Can Shoot Fizzle get the improvement needed to go faster? They certainly looked on it in the first two sectors up to the line. Where does the Aston Martin go? It is a 22.7. That is ridiculous stuff. The Aston Martin has pulled a rabbit out of the hat there and puts it into P1 by nearly, over 7/10 of a second, if anything.
I think that's a lot of track evolution there. A lot of drivers that I was jumping on board with while you were just talking to everyone there, they were all up by about 9/10, between 8/10 and 1.2 seconds. So I think there's a lot of track evolution there. So I don't think Speed Queen is going to be overly worried with that.
Yeah, absolutely not. But 22.6 for Gary, who goes now fastest of the session. That will be the end of it. Gary takes P1 in Q2. Just end of Shoot Fizzle by 7/100ths of a second. But we will have to say goodbye to 5 drivers at the bottom of the field. Detective Midge, unfortunately, missing a cut off by 300ths of a second. Rupsi Cola just getting into that top 10. But it'll be Detective Midge, Quick Melee, Ali Al Rubai, I'm just going to call you Ali, I'm not going to say the rest of it. Mark Baller and Funny Wave Band will be out of the session. But Gary goes fastest, and that is certainly a statement in sessions where Shoot and Speed Queen have been fastest in a similar time frame to Shoot. You've put yourself right in the mix. So is that a sign of confidence from Gary?
I don't think that is going to really boost Gary's confidence. He's now leading the championship. He's put it on P1 for Q2, but he will be aware. He's done a lot of laps. So he's got a lot of knowledge, but he hasn't really seen Speed Queen's proper pace because they only did 1 or 2 laps. Shoot Fizzle was out there towards the end, so he kind of knows he's around the same time as them, but he still doesn't really know where Speed Queen is.
Yeah, certainly does. So now we've got 12 minutes to go, and it looks even heavier than before. Just the wet weather continues to pound down for the drivers. As we now will get underway, 12 minutes to go. 10 drivers who will take pole position. As now, is it full wet? So I wouldn't say quite yet. If you might be able to get away with it, if it does continue to get wetter, does the inters still work at this time, or do you just not risk it and go full wet? We'll continue to see as the first driver who comes out on track is Handflap Kelly, who Aston Martin, who always seems to be one of the first to come out, is on the intermediates, as everyone will be filing out the pit lane, trying to get some laps in early, try and get some track rubber down, and just trying to make sure their pace is absolutely final for their final runs, and their confidence is at their peak. Handflap Kelly's confidence will not be at his peak because he just invalidated going through the first chicane on his outlap. So, but it is luckily just an outlap, so we don't have to worry about that. in this session,
Most drivers
I was gonna.
are sorry about that. So
Yeah, sorry.
most drivers are on the intermediate tyres. However, we've got Soda who's gone out on the wet tyres, and we've got Vikuli who's just left the pits on the wet tyres as well. So they're two drivers that are thinking this rain is not going to go anywhere. But I can't help but think that you need to go out on inters first of all.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely need to get something in, because otherwise, if it gets too wet, all of a sudden it's going to be a big gap between you and the cars in front. So we now have everyone coming. Well, 7 drivers currently out on track. Make that 8 by the time Speed Queen exits the pit lane. But it does look like our top contenders are all here. We've got JPS, Gary Gator, Rubsicola, Shoot Fizzle, Speed Queen. Marcel looked quick as well. So did Soda. So we'll see whether who will take pole out of them. Could any of the others topple the timesheets? It is going to be about who times it right, though, because if you time it wrong and the track conditions are not quite at their peak, that could be the difference between you getting P1 and you getting P10. And Flap Kelly going through the first chicane now. Where will the Aston Martin go? Stick, you want to take over?
The Aston Martin looks like it's got enough grip on those inters right now, so I can't help but think that this is the time to get a lap in. But no, he goes wide. He's going to ruin that lap, so he just ran out of grip altogether there. So that's really going to have ruined Hamflap Kelly's chances on these inters, because I think these are the best track conditions for him. Who can we jump on with now to see otherwise?
Rubsicola currently on a lap himself. He's going through sector 2 and towards Aquamilla Raleigh for the first time in this session, as Kendall Williams do a little bit better than what they were doing in Q2. They didn't seem quite so comfortable like some of the other top drivers in the standings, but Kendall Williams changed their tune for this Q3 section. Through Variante Alta he goes, looks quite decent through there, but now we head down through to the quick turn 16, completely flat in any car, and then through Ravazza, the final 2 corners of Ravazza, through the final corner now. Not much braking needed there, maybe a slight lift at best. Rubsicola up towards the line will certainly usurp Hamflap Kelly. No, he doesn't. That's a 25.3 for the Aston Martin and 25.5 for the Williams. Maybe that track conditions is beginning to fall off. Here comes Gary Gator coming up to the line, 23.9. He does an excellent lap, puts himself quite far clear, as now Constant Soda will be the next driver to the line, but he's on the full wet tyres, 26.0. Those full wet are not working, son. As now we're going to see Shoot Fizzle, who has invalidated this and next lap by the seams of it on the final corner. That is very unfortunate for the Aston Martin.
Shoot Fizzle was literally just about to come across the line and went way too close to the pit wall and went across that white line and right next to the line. So they were going to put on a pretty decent lap, but taking the margins too close.
Yeah, absolutely. So now a couple drivers are coming through to finish their laps. Speed Queen will be the next one who will come across the line. Can the Red Bull put it on fastest? Yes, they do, by 0.6 of a second. A 23.3 for the Red Bull ahead of Gary Gator now. And with Shoot Fizzle looking to struggle, it could come even more undone for who was once the top driver in the standings, now 4 points off after last week. Is Shoot Fizzle able to get pole position and reclaim his throne at the top of the standings with a win today? It's not looking likely right now, because that Aston Martin does not look entirely comfortable.
Well, we say about the Aston Martins not looking comfortable. Hamflap Kelly's just restarted their lap again, and hopefully they're going to make it through Variante Villeneuve this time. Let's have a look right on board. It's very quick on the first left-hander, very quick on the right. That was pushing it towards the limit, just about keeping the tyres between the white lines. Taking a wider entry and then a tight exit on the around Tosa. That would look pretty clean. I think this lap's going to be quite a lot better for Hamflap Kelly. I haven't seen the sector times just yet. I don't know if you've managed to see them, Kalisto. Oh, he's just invalidated. Hamflap Kelly is just invalidated around Piratella, so that's gutting again. And not going to be the best kind of time for Kelly there.
Yeah, absolutely not. He he really, well, the Aston Martins do not look like they are comfortable at all in these conditions. But there's quite a big gap between everyone and that top two at this stage. Maybe they just got their timings right and managed to get around the lap on those intermediates, because it looks like this track is getting worse and worse for wear. But can Shoot Fizzle get towards the top? Is he going to shoot his shot, or is he going to fall down the order? Fastest in sector 2 according to our timesheets. Didn't invalidate through the chicane as we go down towards Ravata for as we head into the final part of the session. Through there, gets a bit of a lock up there in the penultimate corner. It does not look too smooth there, however keeps it in the white lines. That will do. Will that be good enough for pole? It certainly won't be. 23.8 puts himself in P2, but half a second off of the Red Bull of Speed Queen, who he needs to get ahead of and try and beat, because that Red Bull looks almightily quick at this stage and has done throughout the whole season.
So I'll tell you someone who's going to be kicking themselves after that lap, and that's Gary Gator, because Gary Gator did exactly the same thing that Shoot Fizzle did the previous lap. Went too close to the pit wall, right next to the line. He was nearly 0.3 up, so he would have still been on P2, but instead he's allowed Shoot Fizzle to get past him.
Yeah, and that is costly for the Sauber in this stage of the session, where at the moment it looks very difficult out there. It could be the difference between P2 and P3 for him. Yes, it doesn't seem like much of a difference, but it's also a psychological difference, because you haven't been able to beat out your rivals and you start 8 meters behind them in terms of the flying lap order. Speaking of Gary's rivals, Rubsy has become quite a substantial rival for him. We go through the first chicane and he gets immediately invalidated by jumping across the turn 2 part, and that is not what you want to be seeing if you're the Williams, who just does not look entirely comfortable out there. We've got less than 4 minutes to go, and you still have not got a time that is truly representative of what your pace is.
Yeah, so just the most confident out there is going to be Speed Queen, who's actually, are they leaving the pits? No, they're not. Yeah, most confident's got to be Speed Queen. Got pole by about 0.5 at the moment, so that's not a bad showing at all, is it?
Yeah, absolutely not. Red Bull has done an absolutely fantastic job, as it just seemed like everything worked out for him. The grip, the traction, just the car just seems like it's handling very well, and it's set up very well, and the driver itself is one with the car as well, and that is a very crucial thing here. You need to be comfortable with your car to maximize the performance. You can't outdrive the car if you're not comfortable with it.
Yeah, very true. And the driver has just come out onto the track to build up for their flying laps. Last couple of the session, looks like everyone's starting to come out now. There's a very slow looking. Oh no, it's okay. They're letting Williams past. Yeah, everyone's just starting to come out. Rupsi Cola is currently on a lap, made it around Variante Tamburello for the time being, coming up towards turn 5 and 6. It's the car looks very loose there. Look at that load of oversteer on the exit. Gonna cut up around Tosa now. Gonna try and keep it nice and clean. Very easy on that throttle. Just waiting to not get any wheel spin out of that corner. Coming up towards Piratella now. Gonna flick it in on the left. A little bit of a lock up. Gonna keep it nice and clean on the exit though. It doesn't look like there's anything too much to talk about there. Aqua Minerale now. Oh, and that's an invalidation. Going way too wide on the left-hand side curb there. That's a bit of a shame for the Williams.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a shame for him. As we've got Speed Queen, who will be starting a flying lap, comes down the final corners, down the main straight, down towards Variante Tamburello. Can the Red Bull get in to keep that pole position and extend it as well? They're going to have a bit of traffic there in the Sauber, who's come out the pit lane. Will the Gary get out of the way quick enough? They'll need to, because they don't want to be caught for impeding. Going through Villeneuve now. Can the Red Bull, who is sliding a little bit there through it, but goes a little bit faster as we head into Tosa, down towards Piratella now through turn 8 and then towards Piratella. And can this Red Bull, who looked quick all session, extend and cement their champion? Their pole position, head into the last minute of the session through Aquamilarale, gets onto that curb, and now down towards the turn 14 and 15 of Variante, out of 3.5 temps up for the Red Bull as we go through the chicane. Looks very clean there, just looks almightily stable. Now down to Ravazza. The Red Bull heads into the breaking point, no sign of lockups, gets onto the curb, and just maximises their exit on, but not just one, but 2 occasions there in Ravazza. And now up towards the line, goes fastest on 22.7. Excellent stuff there. Our next driver who will come across the line will be Constant Soda 368, who's heading down towards Ravazza, 1.2 up, heading out into sector 3. Is there more improvement needed? They were on the full wets previously. They are now on the inters, up towards the line. Where does the McLaren go? A 24.1, puts himself currently P4, and will they stay there? We've got Rupsicola currently on a lap, heading up towards the line now, exiting Ravazza. Where does the Williams go? A 24.7, puts himself P6, and a Williams that has been struggling, does not look comfortable and could drop down further. The Cooley now heading through Ravazza for the final time. Can the RB get to the top of the get up the field? They've looked strong, but not strong enough. 24.0 puts Soda down to P4, and the RB does an excellent job. JPS finishes in P7, and that is just behind Rupsicola, and that is not what we're going to be seeing. If you're that Mercedes, we've now got Marcel up towards the line, puts himself P2, 23.6. The McLaren puts itself on the front row for the time being, but is that all she wrote? No, it isn't. We've got Gary Gator, we've got Shoot Fizzle currently on laps. Up towards the line goes Gary. Do they go fastest? No, they don't. P2 by less than 1/10 of a second. Here comes Shoot. Do they go fastest? No, they don't. It's a 23.1, puts themselves P3, and that is our grid. Speed Queen takes pole position by less than 1/10 over Gary Gator. Shoot Fizzle P3, Marcel P4, Fekuli P5, Soda P6, Rupsicola P7, JPS P8, Handflap Kelly P9, and Marchmeister will round out the top 10. That was a session.
That was sitting on the edge of your seat kind of session, that one. Gary was just finding time all the way around the lap. Shoot Fizzle seemed to have a problem at the start of Sector 2. I couldn't track quite where it was, but there seemed to be some kind of problem. But Gary was just constantly finding time, but just couldn't eke up enough performance to match what Speed Queen had in that Red Bull. So yeah, there you go, your grid. You got Speed Queen, Gary Gator, Shoot Fizzle, Marcel, Fikuli, Soda, Cola, JPS, Kelly, and Marchmeister.
Yeah, it's a very, very mixed grid, I'd say, in some circumstances outside of that top 3. Rupsicola and JPS kind of out of position, considering they're where they should be. They should be fighting up there with the top 3, and were very far down in terms of times. They have do not look entirely comfortable in those inters. But we now have a race to attend to. We've got a couple. We're now going to go to a full dry race, 32 laps around Imola. As in who will go fastest? Stig, predictions?
Speed Queen looks pretty confident. Gary's been showing his way quite a lot in races recently. Shoot Fizzle kind of been falling off the wagon a little bit, it seems. I think I've got to keep it with Speed Queen, to be honest. Speed Queen's been so consistent across the races that we've had so far. I think a really safe bet.
Well, I'm going to play devil's advocate and put my bets on the championship leader of Gary, because even though he hasn't shown quite the quality pace as those two, even though he did today, he has certainly become a force to be reckoned with over these last couple of races, because his race pace is very much on the level, if not above in some races, over Speed Queen and Shoot Fizzle. But we will have to see whether it is either of them two who can take it. Could Shoot Fizzle take it? It is a very different scenario to than what we had in qualifying. It's dry race. It is very much the opposite of what we've just seen. So when you have grip now, will we see them two be on top? We might not. We could find.
It'd be the difference between a wet and a dry setup here.
Exactly.
Or a quali and a dry, quali and a race setup.
Exactly, and that could pay dividends as we now wait for the drivers to start the formation. I believe I can't remember. I've done a couple of different leagues now. I don't remember if we do formation laps on this league. I don't remember now. But we've got Vekuli soft tyres, and yeah, we do formation. It's this one that we do it. That's fine. So Speed Queen will lead the drivers off the starting grid and go around for a lap of the formation lap. Vekuli and Ali being the only drivers to switch onto the alternative tyres. Ali being on the hards, Vekuli on the softs. Can the RB make their way through the top four early on, or will that soft tyre fall off quickly? We only have a lap of waiting to find out. Ali going on the hards. What would you recommend? Would you stick with what everyone else has done, go on the mediums, or would you try the alternative?
Depends on the grid, to be honest. I think the safe bet's the mediums. If you're up at the front but slightly out of position, for example, roughly around Vekuli, yeah, softs could be a good option. But if you want to just flip and reverse it towards the back, go for a harder compound, yeah, exactly what Ali's done. So mediums is the safest bet, put it that way.
Yeah, it does seem to be a one-stop strategy as well. Around lap 14, you're on a pit for a hard compound of tyres. So it is an easy one-stop for the medium to hard. Vekuli's softs do throw a spanner in the mix as we now wait for them all to come around the final corner and get into their grid box. It's a bit of a different sort of starting grid. It is not a straight line towards turn one. You've got that immediate turn as you come off the pit boxes if you're in that front couple rows. So you want to anchor your car a bit more correctly. So we'll see how they all do that. I believe we're going to get an absolute shocking camera angle for the start of this race. So nothing changes for the time being. So we wait for the final drivers to line up on the grid. It is now time for the Imola Grand Prix for Neo. It'll be round 8. We are now past into the second half of the season. They're going to go 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. We now go down towards turn 1. Can Speed Queen maintain the lead? Yes, they do, but for how long? Here comes Gary Gator, who has the inside line for turn 1. Is that the mystery machine who goes through? Yes, it is! As with Gary goes into P1. Speed Queen does not look like they are at the same pace through there. They didn't get the optimal line. Through turn the second chicane now. Gary pulled a slight bit of a gap. Here comes Marcel as they got the inside. Shoot Fizzle tried to make the move stick. No, they couldn't. And that is just what Shoot Fizzle did not want, because they're trying to focus on that top two. They're championship rivals. They got the McLaren just behind them trying to cause a nuisance.
Yeah, complete nuisance there from the McLaren. Gary's had an absolute blistering start, just seizing the opportunity down into Tamburello and absolutely grasping it with both hands. Can they keep it going now? They've got half a second gap. It looks like Shoot Fizzle's looking a little bit racy and trying to get up alongside Speed Queen as well at times.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone who else has had a good start is Rupsicola, has moved to P5 after starting down in P7, so that Williams has done decently and put themselves back into this a good position for the remainder of the race. Gary leads the way ahead of Speed Queen. Can the Red Bull now try and make an assault on the Sauber? No, they cannot. No DRS at this stage until we get to the end of lap 2. That's where we'll see it get taken. Here comes Marcel, takes to the inside to try and make a move on Shoot Fizzle. Couldn't do it there. Shoot Fizzle had the run, but Marcel gets a bit of oversteer. A snap on that curb, and that does not look like it's going to help the McLaren, because they've now got Rusicola, who is starting their assault and trying to move their way up the field towards their championship rivals. Rusicola currently P4 in the standings, goes very wide, following Marcel through down to sector 2. Can Rupsicola try and regain some sort of focus? We see Soda looking for a move into the chicane. That is very idealistic. Doesn't decides to back out of that one, and now we move our attention back to the race lead, because Speed Queen is trying to get closer and closer. It's got about half a second gap to Gary, but is there anything the Red Bull can do?
There's not going to be any DRS this time around. Yes, there is going to be DRS this time around. Gary Gates is setting a new fastest lap of the session. That's to be expected. Coming up now, going up around the outside, that goes Speed Queen. Going to be way before the braking zone. Shoot Fizzle's even getting a bit closer to the mystery machine there, but not close enough to make anything work. It's going to be a case of DRS swapping around, I think, for the next few laps.
Yeah, certainly. But Speed Queen did pull a couple extra attempts over Gary. Shoot Fizzle is all over the back of the Sauber. His championship rivals are ahead of him. Gary goes wide. Shoot looks to take an opportunity. He's gone to the inside. Bit of contact there as we got see it beneath the trees. But Shoot Fizzle does move into P2. Gary drops down to P3. That is not what you want to be seeing. And Gary has left the session. That is not what you want to be doing. If you're our championship leader, we'll have to try and get them back into the session. But that is awful news for the Sauber.
Yeah, absolutely awful news. But it looked like Shoot Fizzle had a great run out of the out of Toaster there, just to be able to chuck it up the inside of Peratella. What a great move. Let's try and see if we can get Gary back in.
I've got Gary and he's joined back.
You've got him.
Yeah,
cool.
I literally have him in speed dial now because of a last race. So here goes Marcel. He's going to try and go around the outside. Can he make the move stick? He makes a move on both of them. He absolutely flies by the Red Bull and the Aston Martin, takes the lead. Excellent stuff there from the McLaren. Moves to the race lead from P3 to P1 in the space of a single corner. And now Marcel also gets a 3-second time penalty. Our race leader. That is not what you're going to be doing on that 4, no less, because you've got a long way to go. You've already got that penalty. It's going to take a long time before you pull away from these drivers as well. And goes wide again. That's another warning for the McLaren. And that is completely, despite going from becoming hero in turn 1, goes to 0 because of that 3 second and an extra warning to boot. And now Speed Queen is all over the back of the McLaren, who desperately needs to pull away now, because that Red Bull is not mistake ridden. Goes up the inside for Ravazza. That will take them back to the race lead, but the McLaren will have DRS. Can the Red Bull now use the McLaren as a bit of a defence mechanism to their rival of Shoot Fizzle? Gary being back in the session, dropped behind Ripsicola, but he's still in P5. He's fighting off Constant Soda. However, still has that DRS. Here comes Marcel down towards turn 1. Retakes the lead, but it's not just going to be one driver passing Speed Queen. It might be 2. There's Shoot Fizzle, flies by, and that Aston Martin, our former championship leader, he's now back into P2. He's trying to gain some points back. That was definitely needed after that retirement last race. They need to make a move on Marcel and then use them as a little bit of a buffer.
Seemed a little bit tactical there from Marcel, didn't it, around sector 3? But it worked out well for him because he regained the lead around in the DRS zone. Doesn't look like anyone's going to try anything around Piratella, but it's not really the place you want to be trying it unless you've really got the chance anyway. But with that penalty looming over Marcel's head now, he really needs to get his foot down and try and break a gap.
Safety car.
There's a collision. Safety car. There's the funny wave band is now left the session. 10-second time penalty for Ali for a severe collision. So it must have been something going on around the back of the grid coming up towards Acqua Minerale.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but there was 3 drivers involved in that. Quick, Ali, and Funny Wave Band, the Ferrari, now out of the race, and that is not what we're going to be seeing if you're the Scuderia, considering you're the sole Ferrari driver at this event at the time. We've got a couple drivers now entering the pit lane. Speed Queen, Soda, and Detective Mitch and JPS all stay out, but Shoot Fizzle and Ripsy Cola and others do come into the pits. They come in for, I believe, the hard compound of tyres, maybe looking to go to the end.
Marcel has been absolutely screwed over in those pit stops. Shoot Fizzle managed to get out before all of the traffic came in, but where the McLaren is in the pit lane, he's behind about 3 other cars now. That's going to be so costly now, even though he's got this free pit stop.
Absolutely. Oh, that might be why Speed Queen didn't come in, because they thought they're in the Red Bull, they're going to get caught in that traffic. So maybe that's why the Red Bull reluctantly didn't come in. Soda didn't come in because Marcel was in front. So they were forced to stay out. Midge, Detective Midge, JPS and Marchmeister all stayed out as well. So now Shoot's got a bit of racing to do, because they need to get by those 3 to get back to Soda and Speed Queen. However, it's now on the hards, maybe looking to make them go to the end, but they will be taken very, very long into the race. A lot of drivers have gained positions here. Soda, so these pit stop windows, gained 4, Detective Midge 8, JPS 4 and Marchmeister 5. Mark Bowler and all this has gained 3 positions of their starting grid, but a lot of other drivers have lost out due to that pit stop window, but Speed Queen still continues to lead the way. Penalties, Marcel, Quick, Melly and Ali are the ones with 3 seconds. And at this stage, what do you think? Would have you pitted on laps at the end of lap 5 for hards?
Yeah, I think I would have done. It's not overly. You're not going to be overly stretching them towards the end. I think pit lap would have been about 14 to 16 for these drivers to go from the mediums onto the hards. And by the time the safety car gets going again, we're going to be on lap 9 probably. So it's only an extra 4 or 5 laps. So yeah, I think I would have done.
Yeah, so we've now got Speed Queen leading the way. We've got a couple drivers to catch the back of the field. Hopefully they'll be able to do so by the time we get to the end of this lap, so you can get some racing once more. If you're the drivers in the Aston Martin and all that, you'd kind of want them to go a bit of an extra lap to give you the tyre life, the extra lap of, well, an extra lap of tyre life without pushing them too much. So if in this case, yes, they will have the advantage of not having the pit. However, their tyre life will be, their tyres will be screaming by the end of the race in comparison to the drivers in the top 5 now, who don't have to worry about pitting. Well, they do have to worry about pitting, but they don't have to worry about their tyre life too much.
There's going to be another safety car after this as well. So these drivers that haven't pitted, it might work out better for them later on.
If there is, but you don't want it too early now, because otherwise that keeps the field bunched up, and it's kind of a difficult one, because if you're Soda and Speed Queen, you need to kind of pull away from the 3 behind you, like you did in the opening laps with the rest of the group. So if you're in that situation, you need to just pull away, make no errors, and try and get as far away as possible from Shoot Fizzle. We've now got a safety car coming in this lap. 14 drivers are still in this race, 3 with penalties. 5 haven't pitted, and the rest still rest on hards. So we'll see when Speed Queen is getting ready to go. They'll probably try and go as soon as possible to maximise the gap to Soda. They do decide to go now, but Soda is all over the back of them as we go down towards the green flag running. Mark Ball has got 3-second time penalty for track limits coming out of that. Safety car's in. Here comes Soda. They're going to look to the right, look to the left. Is there anything the McLaren can do? They can go to the inside. Is this going to be the race lead? Speed Queen defends, but through goes Soda and into the race lead. The McLaren takes it away from the Red Bull, who's now struggling, because here comes Detective Midge. He's going to try and make a move. No, he doesn't. Decides to back out of that one. But the Red Bull did look like they were struggling a little bit on that opening bit, first chicane. Now looks to have got back into race conditions, and now is starting to get their momentum back, because they've got to try and get back towards Soda, who now needs to try and scamper away as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, we've got Shoot Fizzle, who's gone round now trying to fight JPS, and Shoot Fizzle is right down the order, and that is not what you're going to be seeing if you're the Aston Martin, who's now right behind their teammate and out of the points.
Yeah, not what you wanted at all there. The Constant Soda, they'd absolutely aced the restart. The Aston Martins have collided. The Aston Martins have just collided with one another, and I think it's Handflap Kelly with front wing damage on that car. I don't know if there's any damage on the on Shoot Fizzle's car, but that's not going well in the Aston Martin garage today, is it?
No, it isn't, and there's been more contact there between the Williams and the Haas, and not just that, after that there was a bit more contact between the Haas and the McLaren, so that Marchmeister has now dropped down quite a few positions. Rupsicola dropped down a couple there as well. It's all kicking off in this top end, it's mid part of the pack. We're now seeing Vekuli having to try and have a go, not Vekuli having a go, it's going to be Rupsicola having a go. Shoot Fizzle's trying to defend as trying to make an attack as Shooters moved up the P7. He's now got Marcel, who's got damage, which is crucial to the McLaren, who's already pitted, might have to pit again, and this is not all you'll be seeing if you're any of that. If you like Shoot Fizzle, Rupsi Cola, Gary Gator, because you see Speed Queen in P2, they are pulling away in that group of four. Same with JPS, that he is trying to put his way back into this championship fight. We're now seeing Marcel and Rupsi Cola go side by side, bit of contact mid corner through Acamillarale, and that has allowed Marcel to keep the position. I wonder if there's going to be some steward inquiries about that. That might have just been a bit of a racing contact. Marcel, a further 3-second time penalty. This is allowing Shoot Fizzle to get away, as Marcel is struggling with that front wing.
Well, this is exactly what Speed Queen wants to happen, because it's allowing them to run away a little bit, even though Shoot Fizzle was starting. Oh, Marcel's gone off again. He's just gone off with Ravazza, but he's kind of coming into the pits to try and salvage some of the race. No, he's not. He's decided to retire from the session. Speed Queen has now just got past the McLaren of Constant Soda to take the lead. Obviously we want to get on with this race a little bit and build more of that gap, because there's now a gap building up between the top four and then the cars at the back that are on the hard tyres. Gary Gator leading that train with Shoot Fizzle trying to go up around the outside of Tosa, and is he going to keep it? No, he's not. Gary Gator's managed to defend that one off, up towards Piratella now, and going to keep stay ahead of that Aston Martin.
Yeah, and Sauber, I've just had a look, and he's got front wing damage as well, so he is on a bit more life support now as we now go through towards the chicane. Can Gary do a bit more defending? He's currently got a 3-second time penalty as well, so that is not helping his chances. Shoot does not, but these two will continue to fight all the way to the end. Shoot looks to the outside, Gary defends. This is exactly what you want to be seeing if you're the top four. Shoot Fizzle tries to get the cut back, but he's now got to wait as we exit Ravazza for the 11th time and up to 10th time as they go up towards the line. Start lap 11 for these two, as down towards someone. He squeezes him right to the wall, and the Aston Martin gets his way into P5. Maybe Sauber might lose P6 as well, because Ripsicola's all over the back of him. As we now go through towards Variante Villeneuve, it looks almightily close between these guys.
Yeah, it really does. That DRS is so powerful on this straight. Ali's now got another 3-second time penalty. Who can we jump on board with? There's so much going on. It looks like Rupsicola is under pressure now from Keek Mill, up around where are we on track? Piratella, Aquaminerale now. So yeah, it could be one to watch coming up towards the DRS zone. But Soda is also 2 tenths off the back of Speed Queen there. So that's going to be potential move happening as well. I'll let you take over and decide what we're going to watch.
Well, we're going to take a look at the race lead, of course, because now we've seen Speed Queen's move on Soda. Could Soda retake the lead? Or is he looking to use Speed Queen as an opportunity to pull away? Because they don't want to fight too much, because they are on the mediums. They do have hard runners behind them who are hunting them down. Shoot Fizzle, fastest lap of the race. Here comes Soda, flies by with the DRS and retakes the lead. And does it by quite a margin as well, by half a second by the time we get to the exit of the chicane. The Red Bull does not look like they have much exit speed through the chicane as we go down towards Villeneuve. And can the Haas now try and get a move done on the Red Bull Speed Queen, who looks to be a bit more struggling as we go through towards Tosa? The McLaren of Soda does look very quick at this stage, because he does pull a gap in Sector 1, but Speed Queen's comeback happens through Sector 2 and Sector 3. The Red Bull now, can they make an assault on that McLaren for the second time in this race, or will Detective Midge put a halt to the Red Bull's quest for P1 and drop them down to P3? The Haas is doing an excellent job. The McLaren's gone wide, Soda's gone wide, and that is not going to be seen. JPS is round as well. There's a yellow flag in two different areas of the track. Mark Baller and JPS have caused that, and now we've got a bit more contact there between the McLaren and Speed Queen as Soda drops down to P2, but will have DRS. But that McLaren did not look comfortable going through Variante Alta. Here we go.
It's worth looking at the back of this train. Oh, and there goes Soda around the outside of the Red Bull there. Are they under threat from Detective Midge? No, they're not. But look at the back of this train. Look who it is. It's Shoot Fizzle on those hard tyres. He's made his way up back to the front pack. He's going to be a real threat to these drivers now.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see the amount of grip he has as we go towards Tosa. He's going to go around the outside of the Haas, who looks to be struggling. Detective Midget's pulling a bit of contact there with Shoot Fizzle, and that will cause the Haas to drop down Yilda. No more worries for about the Haas there for the Aston Martin. He's now got his sights firmly set on the Red Bull Speed Queen and Soda in front. 3 second time penalty again for Gary. That builds him up to 6 as we're only on lap 13. We're not even halfway through, son. You might end up with a lot more. So that means Shoot Fizzle has a clearing away advantage over his championship rival. However, he's got to try and get through Speed Queen, and that hard tyre is starting to come into its own as we now down towards Ratzer. Towards the final couple of corners. Here comes Shoot Fizzle, tries to make a move, forces Speed Queen to have a little check-up, and that does not help the Speed Queen's exit as now they come into the pit lane. That is the Red Bull coming a lap earlier than what we expected. Soda will continue on in the lead ahead of Shoot Fizzle by 0.8 of a second, but the McLaren will surely come into the pit. So very, very soon, Speed Queen looking to get some sort of undercut there on the McLaren, but Shoot Fizzle has now got his sights firmly set on P1.
Yeah, it has all come together for the Aston Martin, but they need to be careful and make sure they make these tyres last until the end. He is going to be a full pit stop ahead of Speed Queen, which is exactly the news that he's going to want to have. But look at him now. He's going up towards the inside of Piratella on the McLaren. Is he going to make it stick? Yes, he is. And that McLaren looks like he's really struggling on those tyres now, and it's going to be coming into the pits very soon.
Yeah, very soon indeed, because that McLaren on the older mediums has got to do so. This is about the pit window, so this will be the time. However, Gary is having a little look, checking up on the McLaren in front. However, he will not have to do much overtaking, because if Soda will be pitting at the end of this lap, I do believe. We go down towards the penultimate corner and into the final corner for the 14th time. Shoot Fizzle leads the way. Soda in the lead for in second for the moment, but now pits as Gary Gator moves to P2, Rupsi Cola in P3, and these three will now continue to fight for the rest of the race. I don't know how many warnings Shoot Fizzle has, but if he has any, Gary needs him to pick up some penalties quick, because he's got 6 seconds and Rupsi Cola has 3, so Shoot has a clearing away advantage at the moment.
Interesting to see where Speed Queen comes out alongside this McLaren coming up down to the down the straight now. How far close? Looks like Soda's way in front of the Red Bull here.
Yeah, that's absolutely extraordinary. That Red Bull must have had a very poor outlap or a poor pit stop or something, because 1.7 seconds behind is quite a big gap. And we were expecting an undercut, but instead, that McLaren done the overcut, if anything. So now we're going to head back to the battle for P2 between... Oh, we've seen this battle a number of times this season already. Let's have another one, shall we? Gary and Rupsicola will fight it out. But as we go down towards Ravazza, can the Williams find his way by that Sauber has got front wing damage, no less, so that will cause a little bit more struggle. Here we go, DRS for the Williams, no DRS for the Mystery Machine, but here comes Rupsicola, goes down through towards turn 1 and does it so easily as the Williams takes to hit P2 away from our championship leader. That's exactly what you'll be seeing if you're the Williams, who does look to have very good pace right now, and he's had his sights firmly set on that Aston Martin and trying to pull away from Gary.
They could really slingshot each other here, though. They could use each other's pace in the DRS zone to try and catch up to the Aston Martin ahead of him. We'll see what happens later on in the lap, but they could really help each other here because they're at 1.8 seconds. They're just outside of the DRS of the Aston Martin here. They could make that.
They could absolutely make that, but at the moment, it looks like Gary is starting to fall off the back of Rupsicola, as we now see a yellow flag. That is for Ali in Alpine in sector 1, and Alpine now has got going again, and it will remain in P11 at this time. However, the field has certainly spread out at this point. We've got currently 3 different pairings at the moment fighting it out. Rupsicola and Gary Gator for P2 and P3. The Mercedes are still having a silver war between JPS and Queck Millie for P5 and P6, and the Haas's are having their own little scrap for P9 and P10. So can Gary find his way by into turn 1? No, he can't. He just not close enough as we go down towards the first chicane, and the Williams keeps his lead over the Sauber, but is falling back from the Aston Martin of Shoot, who does look like they are getting more and more comfortable as the race goes on.
That gap is really starting to extend now. It's extended about a second in the past 2 laps. So it shows that Aston Martin's got a lot more confidence in the race than what they do in wet quali.
Yeah, certainly does, but we can't get too complacent at this point, because it now depends on whether these tyres fall off of a cliff, or if later in the race, or whether they are quite smooth sailing towards the end. Currently, our top 3 seems quite the usual. Shoot Fizzle, Rupsicola and Gary Gator being up there, but no sight of Speed Queen in that top 5. We've got Vekuli and Queck Millie, who are currently filling those spaces. Soda in P6, 2.7 seconds clear of Speed Queen. He does look quick though, because he is pulling that gap to the Red Bull.
He is, but the gap that they're not pulling, Speed Queen and Soda, is they're not getting closer to the leaders. They're 25 and 28 seconds back respectively, and that's a virtual safety car. It looks like there's a Williams stopped on track. Here's a Williams in sector 1 that's got missing a front wing, so that's a virtual safety car for the next couple of minutes. Time to breathe, time to regain consciousness,
regain composure,
and see where we go.
Yeah, Mark Ball not had a very good race here. He's been down in last place for a couple of laps now, and he's just spun it at that point, and he's now got full front wing damage. We now will probably resume racing by the time he gets back to the pit lane, but we've now got to Shoot Fizzle with a 2.5 second gap. This, if you were like Soda or Speed Queen, you'd want this to be a full safety car, because that'd bring you right back into this. However, that would give the others a chance to pit onto a new set of mediums that they should all probably have. However, it is a long way through. We've got a drive-through penalty for Queck Millie, the P5 driver, speeding under VSC as we go green. That is not what you're going to be seeing if you are that Mercedes, who's done so well on their debut, and now has to serve a drive-through. That'll put them right with Soda, Speed Queen, and maybe Detective Mitch and Marchmeister if it drops him too far back. We're now beginning to see a couple drivers get lapped. Mark Baller being the first, Hamplup Kelly only a couple seconds away from his teammate from getting lapped. We now just go back to the battle for P2 P2 though. We've got Rupsikola, we've got Gary Gator fighting their way into turn one, but there's not much Gary can do about the Williams at this time. Who else is in a battle? We've currently got the Haas's, but they're not really close enough at this stage. It's all quieting down that little bit though.
Yeah, a little bit of time to breathe for the time being.
Yeah.
It does look like the Soda is making a couple of seconds, especially after that VSC, towards the lead group. So let's see what happens in the next 10 laps or so.
Yeah, we've got 13, 14 laps remaining, so we've got a long time, but he needs to start pounding in on them and hope their tyres begin to die off more and more. 4.1 seconds now is the gap between Shootfizzle and Rupsikola and Gary Gator. So this battle for P2 looks like it will remain a battle for P2 for a foreseeable future. Down towards Ravazza now as we go through the final corner. The Sauber looking to try and make some sort of move, but he just loses that little bit extra time on the exit of that final corner in comparison to Rupsikola. But the Sauber looks much closer than what he was on previous laps. Is Gary going to be able to do anything? But he's using up his battery a bit too much, and that damaged Sauber is not looking in the best of form like they were at the start of the race.
Yeah, I think Gary would have definitely liked a safety car to just change that wing to have a little bit more catch on the front end. But hey ho, he's got to deal with what he's got, and he's now got to deal with this 3-second time penalty for Constant Soda. That's not going to be very useful for them, but depends how close they can get towards the front group.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that Mark Buller gone off again? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Mark Buller off at Variante Alta. Sorry, Tamburello.
Yeah.
No safety car, which is good.
Well, good for the drivers in front. Maybe not so much for
the
us.
drivers.
Not for us. But with this in mind, we've got Gary, who's closer and closer to Rupsikola, maybe starting to getting a bit used to having a bit less downforce on that front right corner of the front wing. So now he gets closer, but he actually lost a bit of time again, and he comes into the pits, and that Sauber taking an interesting move to decide I'm not getting the pace here. He's got maybe going to go onto the mediums and try and get a very quick end to this race. We go into the pit lane. Where does the Sauber? Well, will the Sauber come out? He will come out quite far down the order. He might come out in about P8, P9 maybe. As he now files out the pits. He's done his pit stop. He's on the mediums, but he's extremely far behind. I question this decision from him?
Yeah, he had such a big gap towards the cars behind. He was pretty much secured in P3. Which would have helped with his championship battle, but does he know something that we don't?
Maybe. He might find that his pace is significantly improved. However, it does look to be quite a tall task. He gets past Kwekmeli with quite a bit of ease, moves up into the points. He's now got his sights on rival JPS to try and get by. We've now got about 11 laps to go by the time this all ends. Handflap Kelly fills into the pits and retires. You've got 11 drivers left in the session, and 4 of them have retired. Can Gary get his way in back to where he was? He has got quite a few penalties though. That's the thing. He's got 6 seconds, and yes, there's a couple drivers there with 3. With a more 12 and 9, but there's mainly 3 and 0 at the moment. So again, that is questionable from the Sauber.
Well, he can quite quickly deposit the next few cars in front of him, which he knows very well. He knows he's got the pace. It's just whether he can get back up, and can he even catch the group that like Speakwin and Soda? Like, he can definitely catch the Haas's, I think, but there are some quick drivers in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're not exactly an older tyres either, so it isn't like they're going to fall off his tyres will be about the same pace as Sodas and Speed Queens by the time we get to the end of the race, but it's not exactly going to be lightning compared to them right now. We see JPS move up the P8 ahead of Ali, and but at the moment Gary is hunting both of them down. This is our closest battle on track at this time. JPS is trying to pull away from the Alpine as we go down towards Aquamilla Raleigh. The Sauber does look like he is trying to find his way by, but he can't do much on the Mercedes, but he does something on the Alpine around the outside of the chicane, and that was an excellent move there from the Sauber, the mystery machine, just putting out all the stops. He knows he needs to be aggressive, and he knows he needs to get by, but that was certainly a move and a half.
It was very ballsy, put it that way. And there, he's going to be straight on the back of that Mercedes, get that DRS flap open, and fastest lap as well, 16.8, not bad.
And that was with traffic in the way of the Alpine as well. Here comes the Sauber around the outside of JPS into turn 1, and he does the move quite easily, moves himself up to P8, and now he's going to be on the hunt for those horses. He'll probably be able to catch fairly rapidly. However, it is going to be a matter of how long it takes rather than when, because at the moment, so can Gary get closer and closer? He did look to struggle out of that first and second chicane. However, he needs to get the hammer down through Piratella, down towards Aquamilla Raleigh. He'll certainly be looking to get closer. Rupsicola sets another 3-second time penalty. However, it is looking like that Williams is going to remain in P2 unless Vakuli actually has something to say about that. 2.7 seconds between them, Vakuli and Rupsicola. We go down towards the final couple of corners for Gary, who is hunting down Marchmeister. Currently, March has a 12-second worth of time penalties, joint with Ali in the most for the race at this time. However, Gary is going to be on the hunt.
Detective Midge got 3 seconds out. They didn't really want that because they didn't have a penalty before, but now they've given themselves one, which isn't going to be very useful. But yeah, Gary catching up to Marchmeister here with half the amount of penalties as well, which is useful for him. So let's hold on and see how this goes. Rupsicola got another 3-second penalty now. That's 2-3 seconds within the space of a lap, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. So he's got at least 4 warnings in the space of about maybe 2 laps at most. But Rupsicola has all of a sudden put himself right in the predicament because he's got Vakuli who's catching him at a rate of knots. Same with Soda, and they both got 3 seconds worth of pens themselves. So they're going to be getting closer and closer, looking at a potential podium.
And Vakuli's been the best position for that. So as long as he keeps himself clean, he's going to be laughing.
Absolutely will be. Someone who is currently laughing is Gary with his pace. Gary is absolutely flying. We got DRS. He's going to go past Marchmeister, take it to the inside. March is going to make it very difficult there as we go down through the main straight towards turn 1, first chicane even, and Gary moves his way into P7. 3.3 now is the gap between him and Detective Mitch, and then a further 5.5 to Speed Queen. Can the Sauber get that gap?
I thought we were going to see some carbon fibre flying on that start-finish straight then. That was very close. But yeah, the only 2 drivers on track right now that do not have penalties are Shoot Fizzle and Speed Queen, which is quite telling, don't you think?
It very much is, because those 2 have are really the fastest and most consistent. Gary's got another 3 seconds. Gary! Oh, that's not what you'll be seeing if you're that Sauber. But someone who is actually having a fight is behind them. It's March and JPS. March has got 6 seconds in the space of the chicane. This is not what you want to be seeing if you're March. Queck's got another penalty. It is penalty bonanzas as we go through the Imola Grand Prix, especially in the latter stages. We now head down the main straight. Can march defend from JPS. Well, it's not going to make much difference on penalties anyway. He's got 18 to JPS's 3. He might get a couple of positions out of penalties. Here we go. Around the outside, he takes piece 8 away on track and is now going to try and keep up with Gary and try and use that 6 seconds less pens over Gary to try and reclaim P7 and maybe higher if he can get defective midge.
How quickly do we reckon Gary's catching detected midge?
It's quite a rapid pace, to be honest. It is closing that gap by, well, really, half a second, maybe 7-10% up.
So Gary here is either going to make a position or he's going to be losing out 2 because of the amount of penalties he's got, and they're going to see how costly they're going to be towards the end of the race.
Especially with his championship rival currently 4 points behind him heading into this race, being in P1, taking maximum points, well, nearly, once you take away the fastest lap. This is now more damage limitation than anything for the Sauber.
This is the issue with the strategy that Gary's chosen here, because obviously he had that damage, decided to come in to try and use the pace to capitalise. However, he's forced himself into a position now where he needs to push, and that's going to be pushing himself over those track limits, and that's why he's in this position. So maybe it wasn't the best thing for him to do.
Maybe not, but Gary, at the end of the day, he would have probably dropped the position to Vikuli, but he might have stayed ahead of Soda if he kept only 3 seconds, well, 6 seconds worth of pens, weren't it, in the end? So
yeah,
he would have maybe been able to keep that with a 3-second gap over Soda, but at the moment it is not looking favourable for the Sauber to make really anything upwards of P6.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a day that he doesn't want to really remember. And if we have a quick chat about Speed Queen, because Speed Queen obviously had that great start, starting on pole, and now down in 5th, bit of a lonely position to be in, not really catching, not really dropping. And it's not really gone the way that Speed Queen's wanted here, has it?
I'm quite surprised, really, by Speed Queen's pace. It's all of a sudden seemed like it's just as soon as they got onto this hard, it's been a complete off switch because it's not looked very good. It looked great in inters, looked great, decent on the mediums, despite being on the older tyres. But then as soon as they went to this hard, especially in comparison to Soda's been well on it today.
Can someone on that Red Bull pit wall just radio through and just see if the Speed Queen's awake, and rather than just driving around on autopilot?
Where's... Hold on 1 second. Where's...
Are you trying to radio through to Red Bull?
No, sorry, it's one of the drivers is asking for a... I'm trying to find out who it is, though. Which one is it? I can't actually work out who it is. It's Quack Melee who apparently needs an invite. But can you? I don't think I have them on this. I don't think I have them, do I? Unless I do. No, I don't have you, unfortunately. Quack, I don't have you, so you're gonna have to try and get someone else to get you in because I don't have you, unfortunately. So
drivers are reminded to add both of us on respective platforms so we can try and get you in the race, but otherwise we can't really help you out that much, to be honest.
In the meantime, there's not much I can do. Roopsy Cola gets another 3 second. This is all just helping our current battle for P2 for Cooley and Soda, because they're going to get closer and closer. And if you're Soda right now, you've kind of got to be a bit of a worry, because even though you could get a podium, Speed Queen is right on the cusp of that 3 second in terms of Soda's gap, so he could get very much closer in that space. We now head on to ending lap 29. We've got 3 laps to go. The battle for P2 on track rages on, but it is certainly looking like it's going the way of Vikuli in terms of penalties. We're now going through the chicane for the 29th time. Can Vikuli make his way by on track? Because that's what all the drivers want to do. You want to win on track, then over penalties, because you want to say, I was the best driver that day, period, rather than anything else. So we've got lap 30, 3 laps to go. Can Bekuli get by? Or in this situation, would you play this smart and just stick behind Rupsikola, or do you just want to win on track?
No, we're on track all the time. It should be too much for this battle here, because obviously with that DRS straight, I've just noticed Shoot Fizzle has damage on the front of their car. They got half front of their front wing missing. Don't know where that's from.
Yeah, they've significantly started to lose time as well in comparison to the drivers behind him. Yeah, he's losing time by quite a rapid rate. He's got a massive gap, but and no penalties to boot. But if he gets a penalty, Bekuli could be right back in this. If that Aston Martin continues to struggle quite significantly, yeah, he's dropping time. He's dropping a lot of time actually. He might just skim away with this one if he doesn't get himself more damage or any penalties though.
Well, now that we've said it on stream, Rupsikola, I know you're listening. We might see the pace start picking up a little bit. There is a lot of lockups going on with that Aston Martin because half of that front wing is missing.
We are now going through the final corner to start lap 31. Shootfish has already done so, but that 6.9 second gap seems almost impossible to catch in 2 laps unless there's some sort of significant error. Here comes Bekuli though, takes the position into P2, and that is now what you want to be seeing if you're Bekuli on track. You do not have to worry too much if he ends up Rupsikola ends up taking it back into the final lap because he'll get it on track on pens anyway. But Bekuli is looking to try and use up as much pace as possible, even overstepping the boundaries there in terms of car grip. But he's getting closer and closer and closer to that Aston Martin. 6.1 is now the gap. It is not closing by as significant of a pace as what the RB would like though.
Yeah, that pace needs to come down a lot quicker if he wants to make any kind of inroads on the Aston Martin, because there's only a lap and a half left to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Bekuli does look to be trying to defend as well from Rupsikola, but Shoot just looks like he is managing it at the end of this race, because at the moment Rupsikola is going to finish P3, potentially P4, maybe more by the end of this race. That gap's all closing in, so P5 could be the end result for Rupsikola. He's going to have DRS, but down towards to 1. Can he get by into P2 on track? Gary moves up to P6 as well. So that could be the Sauber. I don't know where he's got on penalty. He's got to try and find 6 seconds somehow. He's not going to be able to do that in a single lap. Can Rupsikola find his way by into P2? And unfortunately, the Williams not able to do much here. Now we're going to go into Tosa for the final time, and this looks like it's game, set and match. However, penalties could really come at a cost. We could see it change the complexion. 4 tenths is the gap between Speed Queen and Soda. It's going to be whoever, if Speed Queen can get in that 3-second window over Soda to get onto that final podium spot on penalties. We now go down through towards the final chicane. Shoot Fizzle already through it. We're going to stay on with a very much damaged Aston Martin. However, he's done everything he needed to earlier on. He pulled that gap. That damage did not affect him too much. Rounding the final corner for the 32nd time, despite the damage and despite the safety car, Shoot Fizzle wins in Imola and retakes the championship lead ahead of Bekuli in P2. Rupsikola comes home P3, but is it Soda? It's Soda for P3. Is it going to be Speed Queen taking it from him? No, it doesn't. Soda takes P3 in their debut, and Speed Queen finishes P4. Rupsikola in P5, Gary Gator P6, but that's on track. P6 will go to Detective Midge, then P7 for JPS, P8 will go to Gary, P9 to Ali, P10 to March, and then Queck will go P11. And that is the race. Shoot Fizzle takes victory. Excellent stuff.
Yeah, excellent stuff there from the Aston Martin, capitalising on that early safety car, making those hard to last until the end, and then surviving this damage that will, if we manage to talk to Shoot Fizzle, we'll have to ask about and see what happened there. But he managed to fend off the V-carb that was chasing him so quickly behind him, And congratulations to Soda there on the debut podium. It was a really good effort there.
Yeah, absolutely. Who do I need to do on this podium? It's Soda, Shoot, and Bekutli, isn't it? I'm just double checking it's I've got the right.
Yes, it
driver.
is.
Yeah.
It is.
Interviews. If you want interviews, please jump in. Please jump in your team, BC. So that is our race. Shoot Thistle will take the win over Bekutli. Soda debut podium, excellent stuff from the McLaren. Showed pace all weekend. We now have Speed Queen for P4, Roots Dakota P5, Detective Mitch P6, JPS P7, Gary P8, Ali P9, March Russell P10, Quick P11, and then Handflap Kelly, Mark Bowler, Marcel, all not, and what's the Funny Wave Band did not retire, did not finish this race. So we're now going to go to interviews. We'll quickly try and get some people in here. We'll quickly jump to that scene, and we'll try and get Shoot in here first. Quickly move Shoot to Murray's office. Hello, Shoot.
Oh, hello.
Congratulations, back on the winning ways, I see.
Yeah, I'd like to say do not text and drive. I nearly binned it.
It certainly looked like that front wing got damaged. It explains a lot. Luckily, it wasn't race ending there.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Congratulations. How was it, though? Let's start with qualifying. How was that?
Oh, I'm all right at Imola. In the rain, at least. I don't really like it dry, so I'm surprised how my race went. I had Marcel doing his Marcel things, which kind of annoyed me, as always.
Yeah, but you did get into that top end of the field by the end of qualifying. So the race, it seemed like you did the right strategy call with the pit stop under safety car. Did you expect Speed Queen to do the same?
Yeah. I wasn't complaining. I really wasn't complaining.
Certainly was.
I was surprised.
Yeah, so did how did the race overall feel? Was it quite easy sailing after that, or did you feel like it was still a difficult one?
I adjusted my wings to be a lot higher than I usually, like, by about 10 clicks. To see if it would make the getting warnings a lot easier. And I only got one warning that whole race. Coincidentally, it was basically right after you mentioned how I might not have a warning.
It's always the commentator's curse, isn't it?
Commentator's curse.
Steve, do you wanna you got any questions for him?
My only question was really going to be about that wing. I was absolutely shocked to see that you had wing damage when I just rode on board with you at that time. So I suppose what you're taking away from this race is don't text and drive.
Yeah, I was kind of seeing it because I was supposed to go around someone's house today, but considering the time, I can't.
Yeah,
it's kind of sad. But you know what? I won a race. That's good enough for me.
Not going to complain too much.
In terms of post standings, you pre Stewart standings, you are currently leading the championship again, which must feel pretty good, right?
Yeah, I was because obviously I've not had the best run past two races. Austria, EA decided to shaft me completely. China, someone who will not be named, readied up way too early. And considering it was a whole lobby restart, you had to do your setup, your strategy, and everything. So I fully had I didn't have a setup on. I had 25 wings, which is not at all optimal at China. That's 20 clicks below what I run.
Yeah, it does not sound at all optimal. So,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Do
I
you?
just retired because I couldn't be asked.
Fair enough.
I did it safely.
Yeah, I mean that's what matters. As long as you don't get in anyone's way and you do it safely, that's what matters. So you currently lead the standings now by 12 points over Gary. Heading into next week, how are you feeling?
Well, it's Bahrain.
Yeah, it
I
should
love
be.
Bahrain.
Oh,
Last season, I should have won, but because EA decided to screw me over again by kicking everyone out of the lobby, I only got P2.
well,
But I'm looking for a win again because Bahrain's one of my stronger ones.
well. Good luck to you next week. It is a sprint as well, so opportunity to maximise points even
I'm
further.
gonna need some of that.
Yeah, so 12-point lead as provisional.
Oh.
So can you keep
Cool.
that? So
Hopefully.
good luck with yourself next week. All right, mate. Have a good one.
Yeah. In a bit,
Good
bud.
luck.
We're gonna now pull in. We don't have Vakuli at the moment, so we are gonna pull in third place man and debut podium sitter Constant Soda 368. Soda, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can hear me, yeah. How are you feeling? Debut podium. Congratulations.
From that. Possibly one of the most sweatiest races I have ever done, to be fair.
Qualifying, you seemed quite good up there. Let's talk us through that. How are you feeling after qualifying?
It was a mixed qualifying in the end, because of course the track was drying near the end, and my final run in Q3, I just screwed it up in the first chicane, which made me not start as high as I wanted, but it was still a good start for my debut race.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with the race, did you feel it was the right call to stay out on those mediums, or would have you wished to come in for hards if your teammate wasn't there under safety car?
I'm meant to be fair, but of course my teammate came in, so I was like, double stacking is not the best option to do. I'll just stay out and just try and see if I can pull away and get a good gap.
Yeah, absolutely. Stig, do you have any questions for Soda?
It's fair to say that if you had double stacked, you'd have been right at the back because Marcel did get screwed over by that. So probably the best decision you made today was to hang it out a little bit. And what happened? Did you have just a really good in lap and out lap? Because you almost had an overcut on Speedwing, which is not what we were expecting. Did you have any like spectacular time then, or do you think that the Red Bull had an issue there?
Well, my outlap was probably one of the best outlaps I've ever done. Just going straight onto those hards and getting the best exit out of the pit lane probably helped me the most. The in-lap, it wasn't as good. Like, I did have one moment where I did nearly spin it. So, but that's what happens when you push trying to get a big enough gap to get an overcut.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've shown some pace that the current championship leaders might be a little bit worried about in the next few races. So definitely keep up what you're doing there.
Yeah.
Do you? So, are you going to be here next week? Because it showed very good pace today.
Well, with Liverpool getting knocked out of the Champions League, I definitely will be here. So, yeah, I'll be here every week from now on.
All right, then. So, heading into Bahrain, it's a sprint race. How are you feeling for it?
Bahrain, not the best of tracks for me. I probably will have to actually get a bit of practice for that, but hopefully with a good qualifying, I reckon I could be able to just stay calm in the race and get as much points as possible.
Well done on the podium on debut. Congratulations.
Thank
Good
you.
luck next
Thank
week.
you.
Congratulations.
We will see you next week. So I'm just let
Thank
you
you.
go now. Thank you, mate.
Good luck.
All right. I'm gonna quickly see if I'm gonna quickly pull March. See if March or Hamplap Kelly wants one. I think Hamplap Kelly does want one. So I'll quickly do him first. Just give him an interview because you did ask for it last week as well. Hamplap Kelly, did you want an interview by any chance?
I'm happy to do one.
I didn't know if you wanted one because I kind of you missed that opportunity last week. So would you like one?
Yeah. Yeah, get Shoot back in here. We'll do a duo.
I don't know where Shoot is currently because he's currently not in the things. But let's start it off quickly with you. So, how were you feeling after qualifying and everything?
I was happy. I messed up my quali lap on my first run in Q3, and every time I went to perfect it again, I'd invalidate my lap. So I just kind of gave up with that one, and I just kind of dropped down to like P8, P9. But my race started well. I was up there doing well, and then I believe around about lap 4 or 5 going into turn 1, 2 drivers ahead were fighting. Bit slower than I thought, so I've gone into the back of them and just ruined my own race.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it wasn't the best of races, but did you feel like you
No.
had good pace overall, or?
Yeah, I'd say pace were well. Pace is improving. What didn't help, Shoot got knocked down to behind me, so I said, right, you go past, you're quicker. And then 30 seconds later, he gets brake checked going into the chicane, and then it messes my race up again. So it was just wing damage after wing damage. So yeah, I didn't get a chance to be fighting at the top, but overall, it weren't bad pace, weren't a bad race to be honest.
Yeah, so in that mindset, because I think you and Shoot have both cost Aston Martin a bit of front wing damage repair business now because they've got a lot of costs there. Heading into Bahrain, how are you feeling for that one? It's a sprint race as
I'm
well.
excited for Bahrain. I always do well at Bahrain. It's one of my stronger tracks. So hopefully, final will get me podium.
Well,
With your double podium for Aston Martin at the next race.
Maybe, but if he annoys me in voice chat whilst we're racing, I'm just going to take him off road and get the win for myself. I think I deserve
Is
the
that what
win.
you really tried to do at the chicane?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but it was on back of my mind.
Ah.
Yeah, it weren't glad Shoot got the win for us. Helps us in constructors and helps him getting past Gary Gator as well. So it's always a bonus to be at the top, so to speak.
Yeah, well, hopefully you have a better race next time out. Steer clear of those track limits a little bit, I think, especially in quali.
Yeah, I hate him. I've always hated him, though. Absolutely hate it. But in Bahrain, I don't tend to go off track. So hopefully I don't. Now I've said that, I've jinxed myself and I'll be off at every corner. But hopefully it is one of my stronger tracks, especially going into turn 1 for dive bombs and making them stick. So hopefully we can get that double podium.
Well, we assume we're still going to wait for Shoot just to come in, but congratulations. Well, good job today on your pace and overall. Hopefully, better chance next week. I'll let you stay here for a minute just in case Shoot wants to join, but I'll pull in Marchmeister just for his quick interview as well. Here, see how he's got on. March, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfectly, I can hear you, mate. How you doing? How are you feeling after that?
It was a nightmare for the most part. I didn't practice beforehand, so my expectations were kind of low anyway in terms of the result. But still, I feel like that was just a bad night in the office for me today, and yeah.
So did you so did it all start from qualifying where you just didn't feel like it was going so well, or was it just in the race? Things weren't going your way.
Qualifying, I think I've done pretty much the most I could do. I wasn't expecting a high result anyway. At best, I would have probably gotten 9th, but 10th is a decent result considering. But in the race, yeah, I couldn't stay within the track limits. I struggled to keep up with everybody, so I kind of tried to keep up with them, but but in terms of I had to sacrifice the track limits because of that, and unfortunately, that's why I finished with 18 seconds of time penalties in the end, which is pretty much ham flap Kelly, especially if you watch the race back. I performed ham flap Kelly
Don't
special.
need to be like that, is there? Bloody hell.
we're gonna get a bit feisty.
Mate, you have 50 plus time penalties, seconds. of penalties due to track limits. So sorry if I dragged you into this, but that's true.
You're gonna be known for something, aren't you, in this league? And I think that's what I'm not. That and dive bombing. Oh, I'll take it. I'll take it.
That's something.
Gonna get a bit feisty in this comms track now. So March heading into next week is Bahrain sprint race, of course. What you feeling about that?
Bar is actually one of my strongest tracks, so I would expect a higher result than Imola, that's for sure. And with the sprint race, of course, that would be helpful as well with the points to help my team, the constructors. So I expect a good result on this track, although you never know. Time will tell next week how it's going to go. So, but yeah, high expectations.
Stig, do you have any further questions, or we?
Just to say that difficult day for the Haas team today. I think you both struggled quite a bit. Obviously, you had quite a few battles with your teammate on track as well. Were there any kind of team orders in place today, or was it just a case of free to race?
It was more down to free to race. I mean, we were navigating the situation lap by lap. But yeah, pretty much my teammate's done a great job today in finishing sixth. Considering the last two races he had a bit of a trouble with fighting people and whatnot, but today he had a pretty much for the most part clean race, and yeah, he had a decent result at the end. And I also picked up a fast lap of the race, which is an extra point to the team, so I'll take that in that regard. That's one of the few positives from my side, but
That's
yeah.
a little bonus.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both for your interviews. I don't think Shoot's coming back, so thank you both for your interviews and your time. Good luck next week. Yep. With that, then we will be ending the stream there. Come and join us next week, same time, same place. It is Bahrain for the sprint race as we get through the remainder of the season. We are into the second half now, well and truly underway. We've got a championship fight on our hands. Please sure to join us. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.
Thanks for watching.